Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host. My name is Q. We have some very special guests, not in the building, not in my building, in their building more so. But this is a band that I've seen 3 times at this point, and every performance has gotten better and better. I will say that, not that you guys were like bad the first time, but your performance continued to elevate each time I saw you. But enough of me talking. Guests, can you please introduce yourselves?
My name is Mara Moon. I play bass. And sing.
She sings. I'm Mary Grace, and I am on drums and vocals as well.
I am Kia, and I am on keys and vocals.
My name is Evan, and I play guitar and backup harmonies.
And as a collective, what is your name?
We are Zinnias Garden.
Zinnias Garden is in the building. I appreciate you guys for taking out the time, for being on the Cool Hand Podcast. And we have a lot to talk about. So,
thanks for having us.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for welcoming me and my team. Shout out to Crowded Places on the side. So, Zinnias Garden, you are a Pittsburgh-based band, or did you start somewhere else?
We started in New Mexico, so now we are a Pittsburgh-based band. But me and Evan began writing our first album under Zinnias Garden in New Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, we were living on the West Mesa in Taos, New Mexico, and Mary started writing some songs in her head, and she was like, "Hey, Evs, like, you want to try to compose some guitar to it?" And it was actually cool. A lot of music's like in 432 or 440, and she writes music in like her own frequency. So I tuned the first album to like the frequency she was singing in, which gave it that really like dark, rich flavor. And that was so much of our surrounding, you know, the mountains, the vast landscape, just what a beautiful place. And then we moved into our van, made it here to Pittsburgh, and we cut our first album at Mr. Small's recording studio on the north side with Nate Campese. And then after that, we were like, I don't know, we want to start like a band, we want to play. And so here we are.
So, okay. So, neither of you are from Pittsburgh.
We both have roots here. So I had lived here. Actually, we both had lived here prior to me living in New Mexico at the same time, but we didn't know each other.
Gotcha.
So my sister has moved now, but my mom's family's from here, and his uncle and sister and family is here. So we consider ourselves like, we spent a good portion of both of our like growing up here in Pittsburgh, but not necessarily from here.
What a love story. They're married, by the way, if you guys don't know. So what a love story. Okay. Well, that's good to know. So you guys started recording, and your first album as Zinnias Garden was released in 2022, Death by Design.
Yes.
Okay. And as Evan mentioned a little bit earlier, it does have a darkish feel to it.
I mean, it's like still like, I consider that still pandemic times. It was still the backlash of pandemic times. It was a dark space, you know, and like personally for me living in New Mexico, it's very different than how it is here, and like the vibration is very different, and the way that I was working in service, so I was interacting with people all day, every day. And now when I look back at that album, I definitely think like I was going through stuff, but you know, I think that was just part of living in that time, and with personal things going on in my own life. And yeah, so I'm excited now that we are not making as dark of music, but it still comes out sometimes, you know.
No, music reflects life, so, and things that people are going through. Now, if you haven't checked out Death by Design, it's available on all platforms. But on January 1st, or was it December 31st of 2023? Whatever, New Year's Eve day, whatever you want to call it. You guys debuted, I think that's the correct terminology. Debuted a new song called Purple Portal Dream. and I don't want to give my own personal opinion too much, but it's explosive. It is.
Aw.
It has a nice change of pace, shift of gears. I love it. But can you talk about Purple Portal Dream and its significance?
Kia, you want to touch on that?
Yeah. I Purple Portal Dream, it feels very special because it feels like us and the journey that we're on. It's almost like it feels like we're in a movie sometimes, and how incredible that this experience feels very aligned and purposeful and intentional. And Purple Portal Dream is just the story of us literally doing what we love to do and going on adventures together. And it was a trip to Washington, D.C. that we had taken to go see Ila Bamba. And we went camping and stayed at a campsite when we were there. And it was just a really, really inspirational experience. And I think that brought a lot of influence into the song, like with the spiral shell and everything. Like,
Yeah,
we found us. Go ahead, you can go. Yeah, this random shell in the middle of the woods, and we're like, what is this about? And so we're always looking for those hidden meanings, I guess, in life.
And to touch on that, I mean, like, the journey of, being best friends first and, like, creating this really cool relationship, like, band aside, allows us the opportunity to, like, spend time together, where I think a lot of other bands, they just have to put up with each other, but we really enjoy our space. And on that trip, we had, like, journey to Washington, D.C. to see Ila Bamba, and then tried to manifest the opportunity to, like, to play with them. And then later on, I mean, this last year, we had the opportunity to open for them here in Pittsburgh, and it's just, like, full alignment, like, all the stars are, like, really shining on this band, and we're just so blessed and lucky to, like, have such, like, good influences and to put out music from our souls. It's important.
It really does seem like you guys are taking things up a notch. You have some media appearances. I get the privilege to talk to you guys, and with Purple Portal Dream, I really think it is a great representation of where you as a band are going. Yeah. It seems to be looking up for Zinnias Garden. So you mentioned you mentioned the organic relationship that you guys have with each other, and at the last show that I saw you at, I got to talk to your manager. She said that you like the relationship, how it became or how it began and how organic it was. So how does a married couple coming back to Pittsburgh end up with Mara and Kia, and you all happen to make music and get along? So how did this relationship begin?
Mara, you want to tell the story of Thunderbird?
Yeah, so I actually met Evan and Mary. They were playing at Thunderbird Music Hall where I work, doing like a little acoustic kind of thing as a duo. And I was like helping them sound check, and they were playing a Crosby, Stills and Nash song. That's like my favorite song, and I know every word to. So as I'm like helping them set up, I'm like harmonizing with Mary as she's like testing the mic, and they were like, oh, like, do you want to come sing with us? And I was like, I mean, yeah. And then we were like, yeah, we should hang out and like make music. So yeah, that's how I met them. Yeah.
You had also spent time in New Mexico.
I had, yeah.
And that was like, we got to talking and we had so much in common. And I was like, oh my God, you play instruments? And she was like, I play the bass and guitar and I sing. And I was like, oh my God, have you ever thought about being in a band? And she was like, actually, yeah. And then like there was just pieces. I don't know. You gotta tell your story too. Like,
Yeah, so I'm a dog walker, and Mary Grace had come into the company and we were training, and I have always wanted to be in a band, like ever since I was little, like singing JoJo in the mirror and everything, but it just never happened, and then I was on my journey and I met Mary Grace. And I remember you were talking about Death by Design, and you're like, yes, like me and my husband were working on this, and in my head I was like, maybe they need like a backup singer or something, like just like dreaming in my head. And then one day at a Halloween party, met Evan, and it was like, oh, so let's talk about this band stuff. And then I got thrown onto the keys. Evan's like, here, like, try this. And then next thing I know, I'm playing keys and I'm in the band. And I met Mara. We went to see her dad's show at the Thunderbird.
Yeah, so we had all kind of been talking. Like, I knew that you were playing with them, and it was kind of like they were like, yeah, we're looking for a bassist, and I normally play guitar, but I picked up the bass kind of like during the pandemic. It was like my little project, and I was like, well, I just started playing bass. Like, that's, that works out pretty well. And then I played a show with my dad, and they came to see me, and that was the first time I met Kia. And then I think the three of us that night were like, yeah, like, this seems really fun and, like, something we need to do.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, Kia, you said you kind of did you get thrown onto the keys, or did you always have...
She writes songs on keyboard.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Well, like, in my head, I did musical theater, so I knew, like, chords, but I'm not, like, a player, you know what I mean? And Evan was like, oh, like, try playing, and then it just, like, kind of launched into something. Like, I was thinking maybe I'd just, like, do some singing stuff and writing, and then he's like, try out these keys, and I'm like, here we go, guess we're on it. So
well, we all kind of did, because I had been, like, dabbling on drums, and I was like playing drums. I was playing drums. Thanks, Mara.
You're welcome.
I was playing drums as like a filler until we found a drummer for a while, and then Kia was like, oh, I'll just play keys for now until we find more people. And then we realized, like, why would we go find more people? We should just probably, like, learn how to play these instruments and play them and sing at the same time, which is now what we do. So.
And this has been, like, just the past year. Like, Kia said she, like, was dabbling. She knows full chord compositions, just like I don't even know, like, what the notes are I'm playing. But, like, she's like, oh, yeah, E flat, da 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 da. I'm like, dang. And
Sorry.
and it's just been a beautiful, like, organic, like, blossom, and everyone has exceeded the boundaries of music in my eyes. Like, we can play a song and make it tight, and they're singing and playing at the same time. It's no easy feat. All the musicians in the world know that, like, how hard it is to have four-limb independence and remember all your lyrics and harmonize with your bandmates. It's a whole nother level, and yeah, I'm really proud of everyone for taking that on, because I mean, I can't see the band any different now. I don't want a different drummer, I don't want a different keyboard player, different bass player. We have everything that we need as a band, like, all sitting right here. So
Do you mind if I was gonna say too, I think it's been really interesting because the three of us have been, like, learning our instruments together. And I think that is why, like, each show is kind of getting better and better, because, like, we're also, like, learning in the progress of, like, all of our practices, and, like, we're still pretty, like, new to, like, our respective instruments. So, like, I don't know, it just feels cool to, like, kind of be on, like, this journey together of, like, learning how to play.
Yeah. I would have never guessed. This is news to me. I would have never guessed you guys were kind of new to your respective instruments. When I first saw you, you were on the drums, throwing up the, rock star, you're over there spinning around on the keys.
I'm so glad you caught that.
I would have never guessed. So that's an amazing story, and this is a pretty cool journey that you guys are going on. So Zinnias Garden, I am ignorant, so I had to look up Zinnias Garden, and you also get results for Zinnias Garden. Yeah. So so it is a flower. It is So how did this name come about? Do you have a green thumb? What's the backstory on the name?
Well, I think we actually all do have a green
We all
thumb,
love
which
plants.
is another thing that is really
Love
cool.
plants.
But when the name originated, I think personally I was really enticed by the idea of a space where things could grow. Like, I always knew that I wanted to be a part of a musical project that was based on growth and based on collaboration and based on communication, based on all the things that I think can really lack in the industry, in especially band settings. And so I was like, okay, what's the best place to grow something? And we were like, oh, the garden. A garden's a great place to grow things. And zinnia is kind of also, it's been used as a name as well as the flower. And I really wanted to pick something that was powerful and strong. Like, I really like the letter Z. I think it's like really intense, but also very feminine. And so it's kind of like I have described it as like Zinnias Garden is like for us, or at least like for me, it's like a place that exists. It's like a place that we imagine ourselves in the future. And what we try to bring listeners into is Zinnias Garden. Like, it's an experience for us, but it's very feminine. It's very earthy.
I have a Zinnias Garden merch, and it's, I didn't wear it. It's kind of cold. And it's kind of it's long sleeve weather, but I like the merch too. And I do want to mention this that your merch was printed or screen printed on vintage clothing pieces. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I just wanted to throw that in there, because if you do go to a Zinnias Garden show, there is a lot of things that are available at the merch table, and I kind of want to just quickly transition into what you guys offer, because you are all creative in different ways. We know musically, but when we go to a Zinnias Garden show, we're going to see some merch, we're going to see the vintage pieces, but we're also going to see something else, as in pieces of jewelry. So can we talk on that quickly as well?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, so I started working with resin during COVID. It started as just like a self project, and I found it so beautiful to be able to, I've always liked working with nature and crystals and everything, and I feel like that really aligns with us. And so being able to like put the jewelry out is, I don't know,
it's so special.
Feels,
we get to offer something at the merch table that's not only made by us, but to maybe an audience of people who don't resonate with normal merch. Like, I think there's something for a little bit of something for everyone at our table. And we try to make it to like personalized, like we're not here to please everybody. We want to make that very clear. We're here to make music that resonates with us and hopefully some other people who need to hear certain messages and get some cool stuff.
And to specify, Kia uses the resin, and she drops different crystals and different earth items into it and creates earrings and ashtrays and all types of different pendulums and different mediums. And it's absolutely gorgeous. It's some of the coolest stuff I've ever seen. Like, if I had my ears pierced, I'd have them on right now.
Some danglies.
Yeah, my wife got a pair of earrings at one of the shows we went to. So you kind of mentioned something, Mary Grace, that I kind of want to transition into as well, because you make music that you guys want to hear. Of course, the people benefit from it as well, but this music is going to reflect what you guys want it to reflect. Yeah. So where does your inspiration come from? How would you describe your sound? 2-part question.
Would anyone have any ideas? Do you have ideas? I'll kick it off.
Yeah.
I think originally, inspiration-wise, we really try to riff with each other. When we're creating music, we jam a lot together, and just kind of, we all listen to different genres of music too. I mean, there are genres that are musicians that we all love as a unit, but I think generally speaking, if you were to look at all of our playlists, they'd look wildly different. And it's cool because maybe Mara will bring in a bass line one day and we'll just jam on that bass line, or Evan will bring in a guitar riff and we'll jam on that. And I think our inspirations for creating music together are to try to lift one another's songs up. So Purple Portal is incredible in its own like uplifting way, and our next single is a song written by Mara, and it has it's different. It's got a different vibe. It's going to be something different. Like, people are not going to expect this, I think, from us. Maybe they will. I don't know. But it's fun. It's like we had a lot of fun doing it. And I mean, that was written back in like 2012, right?
Yeah. I was gonna say too, like, like right now a lot of our stuff, like Purple Portal, we wrote kind of like collectively, but then there were other like songs that like I had written individually and like Kia had written that like we kind of brought to the group. And I think like because of that, like we're very like genre bending. And I think it's really cool because it's like we just kind of write like what's naturally like coming to us rather than being like, oh, we want to have this like specific sound or like we want to be this specific band. I think it's just kind of like more natural and it's just sort of like whatever comes out and what we have fun with.
I forgot your second question.
The inspirations and what describes your sound, or how would you describe your sound?
We get so many things. I feel like it's really hard to describe because the sound is so expansive. People have called us like what? Like we go with ethereal rock or
Rock pretty.
rock pretty. Maybe dream rock. I don't know. That could be fun.
Yeah.
I like rock pretty.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing.
You just said that in there.
So good. That's the vibe. I mean, like,
Rock pretty.
Yeah,
We're
like
making it a genre.
Yeah.
like Mara was saying, I mean, there's so many different aspects to our music, and you know, we're a new band and we're finding all these different avenues, and I think we like to conceptualize when it comes to songs. And like there's Purple Portal, there's I Wanna Believe, and then there's Break Free. These are our next 3 singles, and they all have components of our rock pretty element, but at the same time they're very expansive in our like mental capacity because we write about stuff that we actually feel. And I think that's like what we're trying to portray as a band is like our vibe and like our feeling. And you know, we're not trying to be something that we're not. Like if you don't like it, it's okay. It doesn't have to be for you. There might be an album down the road that's geared directly towards something you like because we're gonna experiment.
Stick around long enough and you might like something eventually.
No, but I think personally everything that we've created, it's very, very fine-tuned to this group of 4 people, and I am just ecstatic to see what comes out of us in the next 10 years. It's going to be like, it's just a beautiful musical adventure.
Your next album coming in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Can you say the name of the album, please?
1, 2,
Oh my gosh.
3.
Paragon.
I had it written down, but since that's not a word that I use every day, I'm like, let me have them say it.
Yeah.
So I don't, mess it up when I say it. Let's see. So Paragon coming 2024, and do we have an idea of when we can expect it?
I would think so, yeah. I mean,
Spring, right?
tentative
Late.
spring.
Spring, summer. Yeah.
Spring, summer.
Early summer, yeah.
Spring, summer, early summer. We have a song now. My friend and I got the privilege again to preview an upcoming single, and that was "I Wanna Believe." Now, is that the song that you wrote in 2012?
Yeah.
Okay. So, can I have you talk about that song a little bit, and what was going on in 2012, and how is it relevant today?
Yeah. Well, so I wrote that. Yeah. I was living in Philly at the time, and it was like 2012, December 12th, 2012, or whatever it was. Like everyone was like freaking out and was like, the rapture's coming, the world is gonna end, whatever. And I remember like I was in Rittenhouse Square, like this big park, and these people were like literally like waiting there for the rapture. Like it was like something was like gonna come and take them, and of course it didn't. And they were all afterwards, like I just watched them be like, oh, okay, well, I guess we were wrong about that. And it's like, it's kind of like, oh, if you're wrong about that, I wonder like what else you might not be correct about, in your like personal beliefs or whatever. But so the lyrics had kind of started there. And then I think too, like, just, I feel like those themes of like apocalyptic type of events, like kind of started to come back around. And so yeah, I kind of just was like taking those lyrics and like putting them into like the context of my life now.
So presenting the song to the band, is it something that was easy? Like, hey guys, I have this song that I wrote a little while ago. You interested? So how did, was it a song like, or just lyrics written maybe a rough draft.
Yeah, it was like literally a voice note that like I had on my phone. And I think that is like a really great thing is like it wasn't hard to like be like, hey, like I don't know, I had this idea, like let me share it with you guys, and like I don't really know if it's like good or not, like let me know what you think. And I think being able to like have that kind of like environment where like we can kind of like bring stuff to the table and not feel like self-conscious about that is like super important for like just having like a creative flow with everybody. And it's incredible because like they took this little voice note and like turned my song into this like epic song. So it's super cool to like hear the way that like they interpreted the song as well.
That's beautiful. The one thing that I would like to add in, when I saw you guys at Thunderbird, when you opened for E La Bamba, one thing that I noticed was Evan giving you props. I don't know if there was another song that you wrote for the band, but a recurring theme that I'm noticing with you guys, which is giving credit to your friendship, you all have a time to shine when you're performing. And I really, really, really noticed that on January 1st, that concert then. And this leads into the question, what is it like working with each other? And I know you all kind of alluded to, a nice environment, but what is it like working with each other, the environment that you like to encourage or produce so you can just all gel together as a band?
What do you think, you?
I think that we all love each other a lot, embrace each other's individuality and see it as a strength, can come together, have challenging conversations, and grow. We're always, we stay on the same page with each other. We're constantly checking in. It's literally, I want to say like, my healthiest relationship was with my dad. Like, it's so good, and it's like showing me so much, and I think we all have a lot of fun and can really be our most authentic selves, and I think that's one thing that's very important to us.
Can I say something? Yeah. We make sure to really communicate with one another and like hold space for communication, and like it is a relationship. Mm-hmm. Like it's not easy every day. Most days we have to we have to be in communication with each other almost 24/7 because we're together so much, and we are grinding right now, and we're really like every single one of us was missing this in their life. And I hope that's not overstepping to speak that. But so we really want to make it work, and I think that makes a lot of the difference. Is every single one of us wants to make it work, and we hold space to they come to our space, we practice here, and like we try to make it a space that feels like they can stay here, we can all be here in a space together that's safe. Mm-hmm. So most importantly,
Healthiest band dynamic I've ever seen. Bands are the most unhealthy thing naturally. And this has just been amazing. And I'm really thankful for you guys and your communication. So love you guys so much.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. So you mentioned the individuality, and you all have different tastes. And all of these things go into Zinnias Garden's music. So let's just go down the line. Let's start from Evan Tamara, about some of the music that you all just like as individuals and what contributes to your own personal taste. So Evan, who do you listen to? Who do you like? Who inspires you? So on and so forth.
I really like heavy, dark rock and roll. I'm really into Pink Floyd. I like psychedelic underground music. Those are the things that influence me. Obviously, being a guitar player, I love the sound of guitars, guitar tones, amps, producing, all that type of stuff. And I'm most enthralled with just trying to be a rocker, I guess. I mean, I can't fake the funk. I turn up my stereo as loud as it can and listen to Slayer and heavy thrash metal, and I just love it. I don't know. There's something about it. And I mean, obviously I listen to every other genre as well, but that's like what really resonates with me. High velocity guitar pedals.
He be skateboarding too, y'all.
Yeah.
If there's anybody who doesn't know Zinnias Garden, he be skateboarding like crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so,
And I think part of being a skateboarder too is just having that like really high energy intensity so that you can get over your fear of trying to accomplish whatever you're skating, because it's scary and you can get hurt really easily. And so like getting pumped up and like doing that. And I mean, me and my sister and my dad used to do stuff like that too. We just listen to Power Man 5000 and then go to the racetrack and ride our bikes, and like, so it's been like ingrained in me, you know?
yeah, the degree of difficulty of some of that stuff I be seeing you doing
It's
is
insane.
insane. So, yeah, I'll leave it.
you.
You're pretty talented. I'll give you that.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So, yeah, let's keep it going down.
This is always so tricky for me. If you look at my playlist, I feel like they have all sorts of music. I listen to a lot of, I would say like India Arie, Nora Jones, my mom brought to me. A lot of like global music too, but I'd be listening to the oldies with my dad, and then musical theater. So I love a ballad and some drama. And I don't know, it's just, I think there's something to appreciate from each genre. So it's really hard for me to, I think, be specific with it, because I just love music. I just love it. Love it. Is that okay answer?
No, that's a great answer. Like I think even as broad as an answer that you gave, it was still specific. When you say global, India Arie, Nora Jones, and then you tap in with your pops with the old school, and I think although general, I find something specific in it.
Okay.
So
Same, yeah.
Oh, mine's gonna be general too, though. I think more specifically, like artists like Ila Bamba is my favorite band of all time. But I think something that draws me to like whole albums of music, is like hearing people's ability to tap into their authenticity. So I really like listening to musicians that I like don't think you can't put a finger on what they sound like, because they're tapping into their genuinity, right? So like that's something I try to always, like, when I'm listening to music, if I don't like it, or if I'm maybe not the kind of person who would listen to it every day, try to see the appreciation in it and then move on from it. But I almost exclusively listen to jazz right now, and that is so strange because I've never exclusively listened to jazz, but I'm on a jazz kick. And we have a lot of incredible jazz musicians in Pittsburgh. And so that's been really cool. Like, we've gotten to see some incredible jazz music here. And
notch.
Just trying to tap into like what's here in Pittsburgh. We see a lot of live music at the Thunderbird that now I'm like, oh my gosh, Indigo D'Souza's coming to Thunderbird. So just all kind of cool stuff, like genuine music.
got it.
I'm definitely a sucker for anything female fronted, I must say. And like lyrically focused as well. Like I love Courtney Barnett is like a huge influence of mine. Cat Power. We were playing a little bit of Chelsea Wolfe this morning. We're all like really obsessed with the new Blonde Shell album right now.
So good.
Yeah, so anything that kind of has like a strong like female like fronted kind of vibe. Pale Hound is another like favorite. And then I grew up listening to a lot of like early like punk rock. Like my dad was in like a punk band.
Okay.
So like The Clash and like stuff like that, I'm like definitely very like drawn to as well.
Okay, so a mix of a lot of different things.
Everything.
And I love it. I love the variety that you guys bring to the table and then, put together as a collective. Now, making an album is not easy. It's not easy. There's a lot that goes into it. And especially for a band that bass, keys, vocals, all of this, what is the recording process like?
Well, He's Mr. Recording Studio. He loves it.
I'm obsessed.
The rest of us are kind of like, recording. It's an interesting process, and I feel like Evan will say the nicer things about it.
So as a band, our kind of like approach to recording is we track live together, and then we get a really good bed track, our drums, our bass, our keys, our rhythm guitar, and then we'll overdub our vocal lines and our harmonies, and that's basically it. When it comes down to like using really good preamps and really good gear, that's what you're hearing, and I think that's what's enticing for the human ear. But the music speaks to the soul. So like the writing process is like the way that we can connect to your soul, and then the actual engineering mechanics. I work directly with Nate Campisi on the sounds, and those are the things that are enticing for your ears. So in combination, that's how you make music that resonates, and it really comes down to the songs. If you have a bad song, it's going to be a bad song. If you have a good song, it's going to resonate. It's going to feel good, regardless of how it's recorded. But I do obsess constantly over getting really good tones, making sure that like everything's really in tune with each other, like even the drums and everything. Like we focus a lot on the frequencies of the music. To touch on it, it's called logarithmics. That's the spectrum of sound that your entire body can pick up, from the highs all the way to the lows, and you need to address all of them, or else you're going to have gaps in your music, and you don't want gaps in your music, because then the listener doesn't have something to grab onto. So that's basically like the broad recording style of Zinnias Garden, and we obviously as well will experiment with more different styles in the future, like recording in a cabin and recording remotely, maybe recording in different places and getting different feels that way. Every room has a different sound and resonance to it. So as of now, we've got to record our first album and our singles in one room specifically, so it's going to have a consistent sound. But I'm really interested to hear Mary's drums in a concrete room, a bass cabinet mic'd from across the room. So these are like the experimental aspects of things that we can try to push for as a band. And I think that's what's cool, and that'll separate us from other bands, because that's the best part about recording. I think we love playing live though. Like true, like that's like what where our hearts
patience.
lie, is like performing live, and
Recording takes so much patience.
yeah, and listening to it over and over.
I was gonna say too, we recorded like all of the tracks live in the same room together, like the instrumentation of it, which like I had a lot of fun with, because it just felt like, yeah, we were like really comfortable and like in our practice space almost, and kind of just like laid down like really good like bass tracks for all of them. And then I think too, like some other like stuff started coming up as you're like listening to the same song over and over again. You start hearing new harmonies and like new parts, and so like a little bit of writing started like coming in while we were recording too, which I thought was like really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that definitely pushed our songs in really cool directions, like lyrically and harmony wise. There's like some new things that we've explored that have really taken these first two singles to the next level for us. So yeah.
All right.
Great questions, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. So I want to spend a little more time on the recording process, because you like it.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned patience. So just, we have some pros, and just what are some of the cons that come with the recording process, because when you listen to Death by Design and when you eventually listen to Paragon, this is what goes into it. It's not this isn't, I'm sure everybody knows this, but it's not a one-take process. It's not a So
it's a labor of love.
Labor of love. Let's talk about the labor of love and the patience that you have to display while recording.
I think for me personally, I have I was like that kid in school that really struggled to like be still and be cool and quiet, and like, so it's that part of it is you're in the studio and it's long hours and you're focused and you're in and you have to be, because it's every, like he said, every little sound counts, every little decision counts. And you know, there are little things when you're listening to a song you don't even know that somebody spent 5 hours putting that swell in there and making it sound the way that it did. And that's just for me where the patience has come in, and it's a lot of good discipline for me personally. We do a lot of things as a group, especially the three of us, where we'll bring in like fabric and candles and
Vibe it out.
Blankets.
Blankets.
And incense, a plant. Like.
oh, and we're always got the snacks. We got snacks always.
Yes.
Like a full spread of snacks, and we just try to make it like fun when it's maybe not the most
Well,
fun.
tedious sometimes.
Yeah. Tedious. It's not that it's not fun, it's just tedious.
Well, we're keeping it real here. You
It
know,
is real, yeah.
you're making your music, but not all of it is, peaches and candles,
No.
and it's just not peaches. I don't know what I want to say, peaches and cream, but I feel like that has like
Peaches and candles.
Yeah.
Peaches and candles.
Yeah, it's not all peaches and candles.
No,
So
it's really not.
That'd be a great title for this episode.
Yeah.
peaches and candles.
With Zinnias Garden.
Great
Perfect.
future song title.
I love it. All right, so let's talk about the engineering side, because the recording side is a lot. You want to make sure you're not clipping. You want to make sure you're satisfied with your takes and so on and so forth. So how important is engineering to you guys?
Huge, very. It's hugely important. Production is something we're learning, and he has experience with, and we're very grateful to Nate Campese, who has great production skills and communication skills, but the engineering side of it is hugely important for us. We want to give, when we send our songs to radio stations and when we send our songs to people, we want 100% for them to feel like we put in the effort that they should play those songs, you know.
But then authentically being where we're at and not over polishing stuff. I mean, there's a good balance. It's like you can fix every little thing and make your sound perfect, but then when you play it live, it's not going to be perfect. So you want to record it the way that you are, and I think that's where our live recording together is really strong for our project. For Death by Design, me and Mary had recorded most of it in my sister's basement right up the road, and then we brought it into the studio, got our EQ levels correct, and then Pat Qool came in and tracked drums on it. And that was a really cool experience because it started to get our timbre, me and Mary's timbre of how we work in the studio together. And we made it out alive. And it was a great experience. The album came out amazing. And then now the same exact style of thing is happening a year later, where us as a band, we're trying to feel our timbre in the production. And it is long hours. It does take a lot of time and effort and focus. And honestly, if I didn't have them in the studio, I would go crazy too. Even
dogs. We
loving
get to
it.
bring our dogs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mr. Small's recording studio for letting us bring our dogs.
And so these little things, they just mean so much when you're spending 12 hours looking at a computer screen and trying to decode the fabrics of music itself, and then having all the opportunities in the world to turn your song into whatever you want. It's just like you need to create limitations and boundaries for yourself so that you don't go on this crazy tangent and then have to re-record a song, which we've done too.
I was gonna say too, like having like not only like is the engineering process really important, but like the engineer as well, and like being able to like work with somebody that like you feel comfortable around, that like gets what you're going for and like understands the concept. And I mean, there are even like some harmony suggestions that like Nate had given us that like totally changed a song, and that we started incorporating to like our live performances of it as well. So like I think that was a really cool experience, like getting to work with Nate.
Gotcha. Shout out to Nate.
Yeah.
If you're watching.
Shout out, Nate.
Appreciate
Couldn't
you.
have done it without you.
So, you did mention a little bit earlier. We covered the recording sessions, but you did mention that you prefer live, and I love seeing live performances, specifically bands, to see all the moving pieces. So, what is it like preparing for a show? If you eventually go on tour, what is that like? Because I know that has to be just as long in terms of the time that you put in to perfect a performance. Can you give us an overview of what you do to prepare for a live performance?
We practice a lot. Yeah. We practice a lot.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. It like in that room, or we talking about like tearing everything down, like trying to come up with our stage vibe, like what we want on stage, and then we pack it all into the van, and then we got to eat food too. So we're like having some meals, cooking some meals in between that, and then go into the place, unload, think about merch, think about what. Like we have to like design almost like how we're going to attack the night. I feel
We do it like I sing on the drums, so we try to have our stage plot every time we play. We don't get to have that, and that's part of the business. But when we do get to have that, where we're all up front and center, and like it's a lot of preparation to like. Sometimes they'll like laugh at me. I'll like turn the light on right on me when we're practicing, because it's like that kind of thing you don't get in your normal life, like I'm just looking at you in your eyes and it's normal lighting in here, but like if that light was like blaring right at me and I had to persuade you the emotion of whatever song I'm singing, it takes a lot of like I have a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for people who play like gigantic stadiums and have a lot of eyes on them. I think that we all, after shows, get really tired. Mm-hmm. We're learning how to balance life outside of playing live. It's very much it's part of the whole process that you don't see, you know what I mean? When you see the bands that you love, it's exhausting to come home at the end of it and have been given yourself to so many eyes and luckily so many open hearts. Like we really do get really lucky. Like our crowds thus far have been extremely receptive and kind, and like, I hope that continues for us. But yeah, you give a piece of yourself and then you have to kind of like get it back and like grow it back. And we try to help each other get through that, and sometimes we don't talk to each other for like a week after we play a show.
like good night.
Yeah. No goodbyes.
And then we'll be like, hey, ... in the group chat. It's good.
So how does it feel up there when you're playing live? Now, I know that there's lights. I was talking to Mary Grace at the last show, and she said she couldn't see because she's in the back playing the drums, and there's lights and everything. So what is it like up there playing live? And I just want to throw in at one of the shows, Evan mentioned, he's like, oh yeah, I saw you nodding your head. And that's not something that I was thinking about, you guys seeing us versus me watching you. So what's going through your minds when you're up there on stage?
Funny enough, actually, I remember you and your wife at the Say She She show. And like, that was a show that I was like really, really nervous about for whatever reason. And I remember like seeing you guys kind of up front, like vibing out. And like that to me, like to be able to like feed off of that a little bit, like made me feel so much more comfortable. Mm-hmm. So like you might not have even realized it. And then I saw you guys at our next show and I was like, wait, I know you two. Like you two like grounded me at like my last show. Yeah, so thank you guys for like doing that. But it is like really important to like be able to like connect with the audience. And I think for us too, like our stage plot is like really different because we have a drummer that sings, and we all like, we don't really have like a lead singer. We all kind of like take that on. So I think like our stage plot and our stage presence is like really different from other bands because of that.
Sweet.
Yeah, very much so. I think it's limiting sometimes in this industry having the drummer in the back. I mean, Mary sings songs and like she wants to connect with the crowd. It's not like, it's a give and take, you know, just like Mara's saying, like same thing. I was feeding off you guys, feeding off us, and it's, you have to give it and receive it. It's like this ebb and flow. It's live. It's happening. It's growing right in front of you. And that's the experience. And I think when we're working in our band space to create these experiences, we can only conceptualize so much until you get in the room, and each person has like a different give and a different take. And if the crowd's feeding it, we get more fired up.
Oh my gosh, we got to do a Riot Girls tribute show where
Soren, hold.
that's really Soren. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Hopefully we can cut that out. Jesus.
Oh, I love it.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
We got to do a Riot Girls tribute show where we were playing songs from the band Qool, and the whole audience was singing them back to us, which we're very fresh on the scene. Nobody really knows our song lyrics except for Evan's sister. Yeah, having everyone sing the lyrics back to us was... It was insane. Like, I think the energy, we didn't know what to do with ourselves on stage. Me and Evan both started saying stuff that we never say on stage. Like, sing it with us, even though they already were. We were like, wow.
What is going on? Like, we're reacting.
So that was huge, because that kind of interaction, now we all understood, like, when you get to that point and you have that level of, like, we're vibing. There's a crowd of people and we're on stage and we're vibing and we're singing together. It's like nothing else. It's really crazy. It was a good taste.
That's awesome. It's really nice and thank you for your perspectives as well, because that's something that I would never know, just how the artist is feeling up there. I remember there was one show in Ohio, the most disrespectful crowd, and not in the way like they're booing or anything. They were just talking. I was thinking, shut up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm also thinking about, I have a heart. I'm thinking about the person up there. Like, I don't want anybody talking through my performance if I'm a musician and up there on stage. So be respectful. Let's throw this in there, because now I'm fired up. Just thinking about what's some good fan etiquette, some crowd etiquette that people can apply?
I really love when people are like responsive to us when we banter, because we have all struggled with banter, like, the in between, like, how you guys doing out there thing. When there's like a crowd that is really like, they like interact with us, it makes it so much better. And it's attentiveness, like you're saying. Attentiveness is huge, and respect and attentiveness when you're going out is not always easy when you've had alcohol. I get it. And yeah, that's just what makes me feel good. I don't know about y'all.
I love when people try to sing along to songs they don't know. That's really good. Dancing out of place, definitely a great move. Tipping your bartenders really well. That's great. Crowd etiquette. Going to the front of the stage, not leaving a huge hole in the room, allows
you and
the
Kayla
artist,
do that really well.
allows the artist to really like connect with their people that we are playing for. It makes sense, right?
Right.
In your mind, and when you're in the room, people are just so timid and scared. And I think like headbanging is one of them. Just giving a little bit of this.
I think we've all been victim of doing the thing where you're talking over an artist. And I think we all, we're learning how to be audience members now as performers as well. And I think I've learned a lot about being an audience member from being a performer and growing inside of that. And I hope that, people, if they're in the audience being like, man, I wish I could do that. I hope that they do. I hope that they like gain that little bit of courage to go to an open mic and do it and see what it feels like to be on stage, and it will help you grow as a listener and as a performer in all kinds of cool ways.
Oh yeah, that's like where we started, was just like going for it, and like there's no other way to like live, is you got to try. If you don't try, then you're just going to be stuck where you're at, and we have so much as humans to offer each other, and just putting forth an effort is half of the battle, and it is not easy. I mean, I know a lot of us come from really crazy places, and we have a lot of stuff, and finding a way to express yourself in front of other people is really vulnerable, but you might help that person. You might, give them the opportunity to live better than they ever have. And yeah, I think we're all thankful for the opportunity to like have our songs be heard and to sing them and to like put them out there, and we're taking that leap. We're still doing it by being in here right now. It's not easy, and it's awesome and scary, and
not knowing everything is okay, because it's I think learning with the process. Like, I think sometimes it's like, oh well, I don't want to start this or try this because I've never done it before, but it is that act of just going for it that you learn and you grow into that. So
I think like having a tough skin about it as well is like really important. Like, even if people are talking over you, like you should still be, giving that, 110% on stage and like playing like it's your best show no matter what. And then I think like if you emote that and maybe you don't have the audience's like attention at first, I think like by the end of the show you will,
I like that because this doesn't have to do too much with the audience, but more so when I hear feedback or some type of mic issue or something with the chord on the guitar or bass, I get frustrated for the performer. But 9 times out of 10, whoever it happens to, they just play through it. Yeah. Me personally, and this is why I'm not in a band or make music. Me personally, if I hear a sound, I'm gonna look around or maybe look at the guy in the back like
what are you doing?
Exactly. But I don't see that from most bands. And you talking about the thick skin, you need that.
Yeah, and I think too, like even if you walk off stage and you're like, oh, I messed up that one part on that one song, like if you play it off, likely people are not going to notice the way that you do. So it's also just about kind of like being easy with yourself and just being like, oh yeah, like whatever, I'm just going to like jump right back in it.
Right. Right. I love that. So winding down, getting toward the end of things, but we still have a couple more things to talk about. You all were on the radio, Purple Portal Dream. That was on the radio. What was that like? What was that experience like hearing yourselves?
Shout out to WIP for promoting and premiering our single. That was super cool. I think we all cried.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we all
could not stop crying. Like,
I was in this room crying.
There's like a video of us, like we all sent a video to one another of all of us listening, and it was really cute because we all just like, Evan's just like crying, Kia's crying, I'm in my car like, we were all just like, Mara's like family came over to listen to it.
Yeah,
it was
my nephew was like in the background, like I was like, that's me, and he was like, what? I don't speak yet. This is crazy.
Really special.
Yeah, what an amazing experience to like, put all your heart and soul into like a single and then hear it come out to the world. It's like, wow.
And the local Pittsburgh community was so receptive and sweet. Like, it was awesome to hear people like enjoy it and be like, oh, our coworkers were like, you're on the radio again. I'm like, dang, y'all listen to the radio. I gotta get back into listening to the radio. Like, this is awesome.
And to hear like some people call it an earworm, I was just like so stoked on that. That's good, right?
Yeah, I guess I never heard of the term, I'm gonna be honest.
I think it's like when it gets stuck in your head.
Yeah. Out of time. Like everyone was like, oh, it's stuck in my head for days. And we're like,
It's a really good song. Like it is a really, I think, what's the term, flagship, standout, That was a very good choice for a single. I personally enjoy it a lot. Like, for real.
Thank you so much.
I'm just not flattering you guys. So, what's next? What is next for Zinnias Garden?
We got some good things coming up.
Really good stuff. We got a big
Single
year.
coming up. 2 singles coming up in the next 4 months. 2 new music videos coming out, and an album / EP that we're going to be printing on vinyl. So lots of live performances. Phoenix, we're going to Phoenix to play our first real we're going to Morgantown and Phoenix for 2 out of state shows.
Yeah, we're opening for the Spits. It's
Which
gonna
will be
sick.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully just like continuous growth, man. That's what I would like for us.
We just filmed another music video as well, which I'm not going to give too much away, but it's going to be insane. Like, insane. Like, it's going to be really crazy.
It's a whole nother realm of like showing personality, and we're all really stoked. We haven't even seen it. We've just seen a couple clips, and like when it gets put together, like it's over. It's over.
All right, Zinnias Garden, everybody. Any last words? Any shout outs? Appreciation? That
Thank
you
you
just
so
wanna-
much to Cool Hand Pod.
Oh,
Keep
sure.
listening. Thank
Yes,
you.
seriously.
Thank you. I didn't mean me though. I'll take it.
No, just lots of love. Thanks for having us, and thanks to your listeners. I hope they can resonate with something we said.
And big shout out to Michael Paul Media for helping us with the Purple Portal music video. Big shout out to Nate Campese for helping engineer, and Golden Mastering in Ventura for the insane analog outboard gear, which made the song what it is.
Gotta groove.
Got a Groove for printing our first vinyl. They're out of Cleveland, and that's our team. You know, these are people that we're going to continue to work with, and so yeah, thank you, all of you, for being there for us when we need you.
And special shout out to our Soul family. We have a great supportive group of friends and family that have had our backs and give us energy to keep pushing too. So
Yeah,
shout
we
out to
couldn't
all
have
of
done
you.
it without them either. So
Feeling lucky.
Beautiful. Mara, Mary Grace, Kia, Evan, they are Zinnias Garden, and this is the Cool Hand Podcast. Something you got to deal with. Easy.
Nice.